All right, welcome to another episode of the Why Influence podcast. Today we got an amazing and unique guest. He's been part of a YouTube channel that has grown to a pretty large size, as well as has his own personal brand that he's been building up, as well as a personal podcast and a website for doing content as a service and strategy. There's a lot of pieces to it. So first of all, I'm going to say thank you for coming on the show, Nate Martin, and looking forward to talking to you today.
Jeremy, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Sure. So before we dive into anything, I'm going to share my screen here and poke around on some of these tabs I have open. First of all, you can check out Nate Martin's Twitter. That's where he is the most active personally. He's got about 3,000 followers there. He talks a lot about crypto. So that's his personal brand there. And then he's the face of 99 Bitcoins, which is basically just translating complex, the Bitcoin topic, crypto mining, into plain English for the layman and common person. And what I wanted to show was just, I pulled it up here. So, right now there's about 700,000 subscribers, and you're getting about 10 to 20,000 views as far as like a baseline for each video that's coming out. It looks like roughly 1 to 2 per week. But when I scroll all the way down here, I'm seeing you're part of this for quite a long time.
Yeah.
But in these very last ones, I didn't see your face in them. So we'll dive into this later, but I think it's going to be an interesting story hearing about how you got involved with 99 Bitcoins and how you've been just driving all this content out for them. So it's really.
I am first of all, I'm humbled by what has gone on over the last 5 years. If I can just kind of tell my story real quick as far as how I even bumped into 99 Bitcoins, because it's not my baby.
Sure.
It's something that I actually, mine is less a Bitcoin story than it is a Fiverr story. Fiverr.com, 4 or 5 years ago, I decided, you know what, I'm going to do some vlogging. And so I picked up a camera and lights and the audio equipment and all that stuff. My wife said, you know what, you better make some money with this. And she was right. I needed to make some money with this. And so I was going through YouTube and I saw a video on how to make money with Fiverr. And I said, okay, we'll take a look at that. And the first thing I tried to do was testimonials. Now, about 4 or 5 years ago, fake testimonials on Amazon and eBay and all these things were going on. And, so I did one testimonial and I felt nauseous because I knew that I wasn't actually representing a product that I've ever even used. I was just kind of reading a script and saying, hey, try this product because I did and I like it. It was a lie. And so I didn't want to do that anymore. So I kind of focused on being a spokesperson. And, evidently, I've got the face and the voice enough to where people used me for home improvement stuff. And there was a place in Toronto that was an internet and computer repair shop. And, just some of the simple gigs that I did, as a spokesperson with a green screen behind me and a camera in front of me. And Ophir Beagle, I said that wrong. Ophir Bagel. God, I hate when I do that. Ophir Bagel is the owner of 99 Bitcoins, and he initially contacted me through Fiverr.com to do 1 or 2 of his videos. And he had me do a few more of them to the point where I think it was about a year. And obviously I knew the website and the email address because I was reading it on a teleprompter. And so I contacted him directly and said, you know what, Fiverr's made their money. Why don't you and I just go direct, because I can charge less money and I can charge less. You'll pay less, but I'll make more because Fiverr's cut was pretty substantial. And we've been working direct ever since over the last 4 years. And it's easy to tell which videos I was with Fiverr because I don't have the 99 Bitcoins logo on my shirt. The 99, so the 99 Bitcoins logo on my shirt is kind of what tells you that's when I really got started. So that's really how I fell into what has been a total blessing to work with 99 Bitcoins and Ophir, because we've had a wonderful relationship throughout the process, and the growth that we've seen, that the channel and the website has seen, has been just amazing with everything that's been going on with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for that context. It's a really cool story, and I think it's a unique way to put yourself out there. So real quick, I'm going to continue going through these. So that's 99 Bitcoins.
Mm-hmm.
That has gotten up to 33 million views,
Yeah.
mostly videos with you as the face of it. So that's a lot of people that you're standing in front of and talking to. Now, on your personal side, you've got a podcast called The Bitcoin Effect,
Mm-hmm.
and that's on YouTube and Spotify and iTunes. And that you started a year ago.
I didn't really start probably about a year ago, and it's been kind of spotty. And the first couple that you see there, the Dogecoin and the Apple Pay one, actually the Apple Pay one is obsolete. Don't watch that video, because there's better ways to do Apple Pay, because Exodus doesn't actually offer that option on their on their app anymore. So, and there are a number of comments that are saying, "Hey, they don't offer this anymore." Well, it's true. I haven't taken that one down, but that was actually one of my bigger,
Right.
the most viewed videos, which is fine. But I've had some great interviews with Dr. Jeff Ross. I think he was at Bitcoin 2022. I don't know if he was a speaker or not, but I know that he is well respected and interviewed on a regular basis on a number of different podcasts. And this, the shorter one, sometimes I just kind of blab off on my opinions, which, I don't have the opportunity to do on 99 Bitcoin. Basically, that's I get the content, and I edit it to make it sound like me and sound like it's in English, and then I present it on camera, and actually from there it goes on to a graphic artist who puts the graphics in next to me, and then they ship that off.
Right. Okay.
But as far as the Bitcoin Effect is concerned, that was a kind of a hobby of mine. See what I could do, and it gave me an outlet to express my opinions and ask the questions that really are necessary to ask about Bitcoin specifically. When it comes to cryptocurrencies, I don't delve into a whole lot of those, because a lot of them have turned out to be either unworkable or outright scams. In fact, there was one a number of years ago that its website says this. If you want to give us money for this coin, you're welcome to, but you're not going to get anything for it, and we're just gonna, that's it.
Right.
It was literally telling you that it was a scam. That's how bad it was,
Right.
and people were still buying the coin anyway. But that's just been the rush of this fad that was cryptocurrencies, and it's still kind of ongoing. But as far as Bitcoin is concerned, it was the first, it is the most decentralized, and it is the best digital money that there is. That's my opinion. If you disagree with me, I'm sorry that you're wrong, but that's just the way I feel about it.
Right. Yeah. And you've established, we'll go into it later, but you've established yourself as an expert in the industry on the 99 Bitcoins. And I'm sure a lot of that credibility comes into here to allow you to get some of these top, guests to interview on the show.
The best thing that I can do is ask questions, because the information, quite literally, Jeremy, I was learning about Bitcoin as I was reading the teleprompter, because I was new. I was totally new to cryptocurrencies
Right.
and Bitcoin when Ophir first got in touch with me. And in reading the scripts and digging more into and doing a little bit of homework, so I had context, so I knew how to put my tone into the message correctly. That's when I went, this is something that I needed to look into. And so I dug into Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and really got into it in 16 and 17. Got my butt kicked in 2017 and 18 when the crypto crash occurred, and then realized I need to dig into one thing, and Bitcoin is the one thing that was the first thing. And that's why when I do the Bitcoin Effect, it is really a Bitcoin only show. And it talks about the politics and the economics and the social effect that a Bitcoin standard, or moving toward a Bitcoin standard, will affect, basically. And hence the name of the show.
That's great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where that takes you. So just to poke through a couple more, you've got an Instagram, not too active, but you do have
I
8,000
do.
followers there.
Oh my
So
word!
nice.
I had no. Is that even me? um, did I even put that one up there? Is that mine? Boy, that's amazing. I'll have to check.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, it looks
right
like you.
guy. It looks like me. Man, I have
Yeah,
no idea how long ago I put that up there. So thanks for reminding me that I actually have that have that
yeah,
Instagram account up there.
yeah.
Uh,
You could leverage that for your new podcast.
I certainly can, because that's pretty much close to what my name is on Twitter anyway, and that's so I might have to use that boost and go from there because I'll be honest with you, that's gotten more followers than I do on Twitter.
That's true. Yeah, yeah. You
That's
have three
incredible.
3,000 over there.
So yeah, that's wow. Thank you for that. I'm almost embarrassed that I didn't know that coming
No,
out of the live stream and having a
I
conversation
mean
with you.
that's part of this too, right? There's so
Right,
much to balance, and there's unlimited you could be doing, and there's so many different platforms, and you got to treat them all differently. So
you do,
that's
and
very common.
I tell you what, in getting into social media, um, I was a big student, still am, and I still actually quote a lot of what Sean Cannell does from Think Media. And the first thing is pick a medium and use it wisely. If you want to go from there, then go out from there. And it's sort of like my Bitcoin and cryptocurrency story. Find out about Bitcoin first and then move along if you want to actually start delving into things. I would recommend against it, but do it if you want to. But the same thing happens with media, because if you stick to YouTube and do YouTube, make that good. Make your first 100 videos, make them suck, but at least get the repetitions in. If you want to start digging
Right.
into growing your audience through Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or what have you, then that's the time to do it. So like I said, Instagram, I really haven't even focused on it because I'm really focused on the podcast and maybe rebroadcasting them on my YouTube channel. Other than that, I'm really not focused on much of anything else. The reason I use Twitter is because Twitter Spaces has been a great opportunity for me to stay in connection with the Bitcoin community and be able to talk with them, basically in forums that just happen or that are scheduled. And it keeps you in the know of the niche that you're trying to stay in touch with.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. So the next platform here, we've got LinkedIn.
Oh my gosh, you got that up there. I haven't even done anything with that because I'm actually trying to get Blue Polo Media up and running.
I do see that you have Blue Polo Media on there.
I do, and that's going to be a more trying to make more money with the equipment that I bought that my wife told me I had to make money with, and that is a digital marketing and video strategy company, helping local businesses use video more strategically in their advertising and marketing.
Yeah, and that's very important. A lot of businesses could definitely benefit from that for sure. And you've experienced it firsthand with 99 Bitcoins.
I have, and I tell you what, the SEO team at 99 Bitcoins. I went to, I did not go this last year to Miami, but I went to Miami in 2021, and everybody thought that it was my baby, 99 Bitcoins. And they said, everybody said, your SEO game is out of this world. I'm going, that's great. I'm a member of a team, and whoever's doing our SEO, I can get you in contact with them, but I'm not that guy. But our SEO wizard is fantastic, considering the fact that what is Bitcoin, that particular video that came out, I think in 2018, that's got 5.6 million views just by itself. In fact, I went to bitcoinnigeria.com, and its intent is to teach Nigerians about Bitcoin. And the first thing that you see is a big billboard-sized thumbnail of that video thumbnail. And so
wow.
There are literally other websites that are using that video as the first step toward teaching about Bitcoin. What is money, and then what is Bitcoin when you compare it to fiat currencies like the dollar, the euro, or any other national currency that we trade in right now.
Yeah, that's amazing. All right, so then we have 99bitcoins.com, which I know isn't yours, but your face is on it, and it talks about having over 100,000 students going through a free course. So I'm assuming they've got quite an email list that they are utilizing as part of their brand as well.
We do utilize an email list. The first thing that you're going to get if you're new to Bitcoin is the 7-day crash course. And actually, there are more than seven videos in that now. And it is what is Bitcoin? What's a Bitcoin wallet? Actually, let me do something here real quick, because here it is. Let me pull this up. This is actually the app that we have available on the App Store, and this actually has the what is Bitcoin, and it has all of the videos on how to keep your Bitcoin safe, ways to earn Bitcoin, what some of the other altcoins are. But you're going to get an email a day with one video, so that you can actually have an education kind of trickle in, so that you can watch a video each day and learn more about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies than pretty much anybody else knows around your water cooler.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. So I think I think there's a little bit left here. We've got the 99 Bitcoins stats. I pulled up the Social Blade on it. So right now you're looking at roughly 20 to looks like 50,000 views per day, is what you're seeing on that channel.
I would urge you to take a look at that one video, because the number of people that are watching that particular video has been consistent for a long time. And that's a testament not to my presentation so much as the clarity of the message that Ophir and the team put together. The fact that I had the opportunity to present that message, and that it's done so well, and that it's advanced the cause of Bitcoin and hard money, that's a testament more to Bitcoin and the team than it is to me. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just very pleased to be a part of it and to share that knowledge with people around the world.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it's such a unique story, because you really just started out by offering a service on Fiverr.
Yeah.
And it's led you down this path that you just did not expect.
Yeah, absolutely. Because Fiverr was a side gig. I would, to give you a little bit more of my backstory, I was in the casino industry for 13 years, Jeremy. I was dealing cards, and I was a pit manager at a casino here in my area. And like I said, it was pretty much a side hustle. And that side hustle has now turned into me being a full-time Bitcoin apologist, if you will, and student, because I'm still a student. I'm not. I can't even consider myself a pleb, because I don't know enough about all of the technical stuff to really kind of engage with the heart and soul, the engine, if you will, of what Bitcoin is and how it works. But I'm absolutely certain of why the ordinary person should invest in, well, actually should change their money over to Bitcoin, because I believe that Bitcoin is going to be the world reserve asset. If not currency, it's going to be the standard by which nations, politicians, monetary policy will be measured.
Awesome. All right. So we're going to dive into a lot of your story here. But before we do, I just want to start off with getting some advice from you, because you've got this wide range of experience now that we just went through. And a question we get asked a lot on our podcast here is, like, what's the best way to start? Where do I put my energy? So, and I like to ask that to each guest, so that our listeners can, get different perspectives of how to get started. So, like, if someone came to you right now and said, I want to, start a YouTube channel or start a personal brand or something, and it can even be like along the same lines of talking about Bitcoin, just something that you're comfortable with, like, what would be some of the biggest advice that you give to someone starting out?
Be consistent, sell your service, sell your brand, know your audience, and never sell your integrity.
That's great advice.
And the reason I say that is because when I was with Fiverr, when I was working with Ophir, when I wasn't exclusive with 99 Bitcoins, which I am now, nobody else in cryptocurrency, pretty much anybody else can, because we have over 600,000 subscribers. People are beginning to recognize me, and they say, hey, we can use this guy as a spokesperson because of who he is in Bitcoin. Well, I can't really do that. And that's why we have the agreement that we do. But before that happened, I actually got a script in on Fiverr, and it was for another cryptocurrency, um, uh, basically money making opportunity. And I knew that the promises were bigger than life, and I knew that it sounded too good to be true. But I read the script anyway, and then I got called out as the originator or of this Bitcoin scam. And Ophir gave me a call and said, well, we got to put a stop to this. And so we literally had to. And here's the other thing, too. If you mess up, make an apology video, because the best thing that we could have done was to nip it in the bud and make a video and that said, I'm not a part of this. I am not the originator. I don't have any ownership in this thing. In fact, and here's another piece of advice for anybody who wants to be a spokesperson: never attach your face to a title within a company that you're representing. You're only a spokesperson. Make sure you say that, because I made sure I said that for that particular video. And that was evidence to the fact that I didn't have any ownership in that scam. And that's the last one I ever did. But doing that apology video was extremely helpful for 99 Bitcoins, because it showed that I made a mistake, but I needed to make sure that my integrity was still intact. And so in order to do that, I had to make the apology, make sure that people knew that it was a lapse in my judgment, and then move on from there. Ophir could have done me. I said that in the video. Ophir could have done me, but instead he decided, you know what, let's do this exclusively so that you and 99 Bitcoins are on the same track. And, he didn't have to do that, but it was great. It showed his grace and his willingness to keep moving on with me, regardless of the fact that I made a mistake. Just own up to your mistakes, especially in media, because as soon as you make one and you try to hide it, people are going to find it. Hey, take a look at today's atmosphere right now politically, and you're going to find out that people are going to find it.
Right. Yeah. And you never know where things are going to end up. And you creating these early videos that you created that you weren't feeling comfortable about, can come up and haunt you later in your career as you become more known, and people can, refer back to that. And at least you set things right, and you moved forward through that and learned from it, and are, sharing so other people can learn from that as well.
Yeah, that was a big lesson to learn, and I hope that anybody that's starting a YouTube channel or podcast or anything would recognize that, open yourself up and be vulnerable to the mistakes that you've made. Because if you want to maintain your integrity and maintain your niche and maintain your audience and any credibility, then you need to make sure to be humble enough to own up to those mistakes, so that people can recognize that you're still real. I'm human. I'm not going to be perfect. And that's something that a lot of people have to recognize, that they don't have to hide. Right. Don't hide your humanity. You're human. In fact, that's going to connect with your audience just that much better, because guess what? They are too.
And that's something that comes out a lot, is the authenticity, the vulnerability, things like that, because that's who you are, and that brings your individual person, as well as it's just like it's very transparent. Like, it's clear if someone's not going to be that way.
Right. And I've already doxed myself. I used my real name when I first started this thing. And so it's like, everybody knows, hey, I'm named Martin. That's not a pseudonym. That's me. and so, but the thing is too, is that I'm very, very fortunate. First of all, 99 Bitcoins is a great organization. They give out great content, and their business model is such that I can be proud to be part of it. And that being the case, I don't have to be ashamed of being, attached with Bitcoin. I don't have to be ashamed with being attached with the company itself. And so I can sign my name as big as John Hancock did to the Declaration of Independence, because I'm proud of the work that we're doing, and I'm certain of what Bitcoin is and what it represents.
And that's great, because then the passion comes through as well when it gets to that point. All right, so that's amazing advice for someone starting out, and also applies to really anybody, even if they're continuing. Mm-hmm. But do you have any specific advice for someone who's maybe a spokesperson, or more established in the marketplace, that might be a more experienced tip that you might be able to share for someone who's maybe at your caliber, or maybe someone that is above you that maybe is a mistake that someone could learn from?
A
or
couple of
just
things.
a tip?
Yeah, one thing comes to mind right away. Don't get gas. GAS. That's gear acquisition syndrome. Don't do that. Okay, I got that early. The intent of being a spokesperson or a voiceover artist, or one of the intents actually, eventually is to make money. The first intent is obviously to share your passion. Okay, and be relatable, and get a tribe. Okay, have people that follow you that can connect with you and relate to you. That's obviously the first thing. Okay. But monetizing is going to be something that you want to think about. And it probably was when you first got started. And so in order to monetize, all you really need is an iPhone. I'm serious, because it's got a better camera than the one I'm using right now. This camera that I'm using is a 5-year-old Canon DSLR. But you wouldn't know it. Who cares?
Right.
The answer is the content that I'm giving you of value to you? Okay. It doesn't matter what lens I'm looking through. It matters that you believe what I say, and that the truth of what I'm saying comes out in the integrity that you know that I have. It's your reputation that is involved, and just make sure that you are careful with that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think building a tribe and having a community around what you're doing is something that can really set you up for success. Just because if you end up creating a product or creating something, there's going to be people there that already have trust with you, that are
Mhm.
ready to do something that you may want them to do, kind of thing.
Mhm.
And awesome. So all right, let's take a few steps back here,
Sure.
and let's go back to the origin that I know about, which is the Fiverr moment, when
Okay.
you put yourself on Fiverr so that you could put yourself on camera to do video as a service, to give other people content.
Mhm.
Now, were you comfortable putting yourself out at that point? And if so, like what's like the origin of you starting to put yourself out there?
I've actually been in front of crowds, whether it be on stage or as a worship leader at a number of churches that I've been at. So I've been singing with a guitar into a microphone for a regular basis. It's not something that was foreign to me when I decided to go ahead and go on camera. What was foreign to me was that it doesn't respond back to me. So you have to keep your energy up, because if you just talk normally without putting a little extra energy into it, it doesn't show. You need to
Right.
actually show more energy in your presentation than what you think you need to when you're just talking to a person, because now you actually have to connect through a screen. It's not just person to person. So know that your camera is not going to respond to you, but you got to take care of that. Now, that was part of the answer to the question that you asked me. Ask it again so that I can actually answer it fully.
Yeah, the origins of sharing on a larger level.
It was so weird because I literally just got myself a green screen, and the camera that I got didn't even have an audio in. So I was literally using a Zoom H4n and a Sony Alpha 5000 as my first camera, and a couple of can lights that were in the key and the fill spot, and that was it. And then I tried to fill in the green screen as best I could so that I could get that color out of there. And it was a mashup. It was a total mashup. And all I could do was know that I know how to read. And I got I'll plug these guys without even having a link. The Parrot teleprompter, which is something completely, it's called something else now. You literally slide it onto your camera and read from it. And I have a voice activated teleprompter pro or something like that.
hmm,
And so the voice activation is what I use. And so when I'm speaking into the camera, the phone hears me, and then the phone will scroll up as I'm speaking those words. It's a great product.
oh, cool.
I would highly recommend that to anybody.
Okay, are you still using that today, or something like that?
I do. I still use let me find which just so I can get the name of the app right. Prompt Smart Pro is the name of the product. And yes, it is a subscription service, but I highly recommend it to anybody who is doing teleprompter work solo. Because either you got a remote in your hand, and now I did used to use a foot pedal to actually scroll that up and down. But it
Okay,
started to click and be audible. So I said, to heck with that. We'll just get the voice version.
that's great. Yeah. Okay, so you when you created that Fiverr account, you're already comfortable putting yourself out there. What you had to learn was just the nuances of talking to a camera and using a teleprompter
Yeah.
if you're reading things.
Yeah.
Um,
And I thought I was good. I look back at some of those videos now and I cringe. Yeah. Because it's going to come with repetition. Comfort comes with doing what you're doing before you're knowing what you're doing. Let me say that again. Do what you do before you know what you do, because you're going to throw a bunch of mud up against the wall. Some of it's going to stick, some of it's not. And take a look at your own videos, listen to your own podcasts, and cringe a little, and then take notes as to what you think you can do to improve. That's all. And that's all there is to it. And listen and watch other people that you want to emulate. As far as my podcast is concerned, I try to emulate. I'm going to show my age now. The morning show guy that I listened to when I was in high school, because he did top 40 music, but he also had what he called people polls and trivia things, and obviously they had the caller number 9 in order to win whatever thing. But I just tried to emulate that vocal tone and that presentation. And so if there's somebody, there's no crime in emulating or copying somebody that you like until you can get your own personality inserted into that. That's okay, because that's all anybody really does. There's no original thoughts out there. Everybody's just putting their own personality into something that's already been done. If you see something that's really new or something that you haven't seen in a long time, that is unique, it's not going to be for very long, because other people are going to emulate that. You just watch.
Right. Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I not that there's not new things, but that they get shared in many different ways from different perspectives. And all right, so we can do a short one on this, but like, why did you start on Fiverr? I know we talked a little bit about. I guess you were just looking for another source of income, but like,
it really was. Yeah, it was really just another source of income. And like I said, I'd already bought the camera and the stuff, and it was an opportunity, I thought, to go ahead and make some additional money. Now, I'm not saying that everybody out there is going to be able to do what I did, because there's some luck involved, and being able to present on your Fiverr page or your Upwork page or whatever you're using, every single time that you apply for a job on Upwork, or your profile on Fiverr, is a cover letter and a sales pitch. And you need to make sure that they see you. And the way to do that first is to get reviews at a loss. Do it for $5. Do it for $10. I know you're making $3 an hour or $2 an hour with those first 5-10 videos, or the first 5-10 gigs that you get. But the thing is that as people see that as you get to that level 2 seller, at least on Fiverr, as opposed to a level 1 seller or a new seller, okay, then you can start raising your prices and start making it more worth your while. But get the reviews, get the reps in, have people say, this person did a great job reading my script. It's exactly the tone that I needed. But have that happen a few times before you start hitting the gas and start raising your prices, because those reviews are going to be exactly what sell. The testimonial is always the biggest seller. It's never what you say, but it's always what your customers say that make other people go, I'll be a customer too.
Yep, I completely agree. Testimonials are powerful, and it's probably why people hired you in the beginning to do testimonials, and you saw the value of it for offering as a service.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's talk about the transition at some point that you started pushing more of your personal brand. Was that from the beginning? Like, did you have your Twitter or personal brand from the beginning, or was there some point from that point on that started?
No, I made the mistake of actually taking my personal vlog channel and then turning it into the Bitcoin Effect. That was a mistake. I should have started a new channel, because all of my vlog stuff I had to kind of like take off or make private or unlisted or what have you. Sometimes even the recommended video is one of my vlogs from like 3 years ago. And, it's not necessarily that I'd mind people knowing what my family does or what my interests are, but that's not the point of the channel. You got to try to keep the channel in the niche that it was supposed to be part of. So if I'm going to start I'll start another channel if I'm going to start vlogging again and having my family involved, or, kind of blathering on about things that aren't Bitcoin. But, keep your channel niche, stay in your lane is basically what I would say.
Okay. So you were vlogging. Were the vlogs happening before you did this Fiverr gig?
The vlogs were happening at the same time I was doing the Fiverr gigs. And that was just a matter, that was just, kicking some time around and doing some vlogs. And it didn't really have, I didn't know who I was talking to. I was just kind of vlogging whatever I was doing. I didn't have a basic message. I didn't have a group of people that I was really I was spraying and praying. That's what was going on. And basically those are the videos that stunk until I got better at what I was doing. But the thing is though, is that there's a learning curve too. When you talk about editing, you're talking about storytelling, and, I've got a family, and I'm not, and so I had to prioritize and recognize I've got to deal with, I have a full-time job. I have a side gig with Fiverr. I have a family. Balance that out. Don't miss the fact that, for me, I got married to be with a partner for life, and I had kids so that I can, instill in them some knowledge and some success so that, selfishly, I can have a little bit of pride in my kids. So, make sure that you have that balance. Don't just burn yourself out, staying up till 3 or 4 in the morning because you have to get that video. You know what? If you miss one, you miss one. And that's where I was at.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, what I'm seeing here is, you had a lot of experience being on stage and being in front of people. So you had that comfort. And then you took these stepping stones of doing the Fiverr, and offering the services of putting videos out there. You were also doing hobby vlog videos, and you were just sort of stumbling your way forward, getting more comfortable, getting practice, you know, putting in the time that it takes to get to a caliber that, get you in front of the, 99 Bitcoins, for them to believe in you, to push forward with them wholly as part of their face of the brand. So I was just pointing that out. It's just that's pretty cool, trajectory there, for that. So congrats on overcoming all those barriers and pushing through all that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So you've got this personal podcast now, which seems like it's a pretty big passion project for you. Like what's the motivation behind that?
The motivation behind the Bitcoin Effect was to answer some questions. If there's one thing that I'm good at, it's digging in and finding out what questions aren't being answered, the important ones, which is why the Bitcoin Effect is really it's an information fact-finding mission to find out politically, economically, and socially, what does Bitcoin do? Because Bitcoin is a hard money. And what that means is that it can't easily be created. Okay. It takes energy to create money. It takes energy to mine gold. It takes energy to mine silver. And so it requires work to get value. And that's what Bitcoin mining is, which is what makes that digital process so unique in our world today. It's a brand new paradigm. So I needed to ask the question, what happens? How do you lend when there's no negative balances on the Bitcoin ledger? Okay. And how do how do nations actually accomplish what they need to accomplish without a debt vehicle if we go to a Bitcoin standard? I'm not saying I've got the answers to those questions. I just want to get what people's opinions are of what those answers are going to be. And so that's what the Bitcoin Effect is. And those are the conversations that I like to have with people that are in the Bitcoin community. And what I'll also be doing with the Bitcoin Effect is teaching people how to buy their first Bitcoin, what some of the wallets do, who some of the exchanges are, but it will be based solely on Bitcoin as not the next, let me back that up, as the best hard money system that we have available to us today, as more and more people begin to adopt it as a store of value, as a means of exchange.
Okay. And so you're doing this info and fact-finding mission here. Is this for yourself? Is it for others? Like, what's your motivation? Why is that important to you?
My hope is that the questions that I have are questions that others have. And I have the vehicle to ask them and to have them answered, hopefully for the people that would watch and listen to the program.
Okay. And I'm just going to go a little deeper here, but why is it important for you to answer the questions that other people might have asked or might not know to ask?
Because if we don't ask the questions now, then we won't be prepared to answer them if and when Bitcoin actually becomes the main monetary system. If we don't know where people stand politically, if we don't know where they stand socially, how do we interact with one another with a Bitcoin standard? We really don't know the answers to that questions. And a lot of people are asking those questions, even at a higher level than I ask them. I'm not a Harvard student. I'm not somebody that's in the think tanks. I'm just an ordinary guy that wants answers to questions about something that is only 13 years old, but is having a tremendous effect on financial markets, on nation states. You take a look at El Salvador, who just accepted it as legal tender. So now not only are they using the dollar, but they're also utilizing Bitcoin as a means of exchange within their country. And they've had conversations with the International Monetary Fund, which have not necessarily been cordial. So what are the answers to those questions? And what happens diplomatically between nations when it comes to, whether or not the dollar is going to continue to be used as the monetary system for oil and other commodities? You take a look at what's happening with Russia and China. They've agreed to use rubles and Bitcoin as far as Russian oil exports is concerned. All of these, and as soon as they said Bitcoin, all of a sudden, there's an interest in what's going to happen with the petrodollar system. Saudi Arabia is also already beginning, which is the source of the petrodollar system, has already said, well, we'll start accepting euros. What does that mean for the United States relationship with Saudi Arabia? All these things are happening because there's a new player in the game, and that new player in the game is Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is not sponsored nor controlled by any one or number of nations. Those are the questions that need to be answered.
Okay. Yeah. So, a lot of what we talk about here is just how to feel like you have to be moving forward. Like, how do you get started when you're uncomfortable, or how do you keep going when it's hard? You doing this to me sounds like it's almost like it feels like an obligation that you need to offer this service of education and research and exploring these questions, because maybe there's not enough people out there doing it, or it just needs to be sped up quicker of an adoption. To me, it sounds like you're doing it out of like you feel obligated to have done this, is my impression.
I don't know that I feel obligated to it, except for the fact that there are so many people that go gung ho in one direction without looking at what some of the pitfalls are of what idea they might have. So let's back up. Okay. I don't know how familiar you are with the idea of Bitcoin Citadels, where people who have a lot of Bitcoin decide to basically set up their own nation state so that they're independent of the laws of other nations. So, okay, that's great. Okay. But we also know that Bitcoin is inconfiscable. You can't take it without, forcing the words out of their head. And so who's going to determine what the moral code is? Who's going to determine what the laws are? Who's going to determine how to enforce those laws? Because if you don't, and I'll just kind of preview what my next couple of episodes are going to be, if you don't include violence, incarceration, or confiscation as a consequence either a consequence or a deterrent for bad actors, then how are you going to maintain any type of society? And a lot of Bitcoiners think that you don't need the threat of violence, incarceration, or confiscation in order to maintain a society. And that doesn't work, because people are people. We're not perfect. And there will always be somebody that doesn't want to abide by the rules. These are the big questions.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for diving deep there. Appreciate you letting me go a couple layers deep on that.
Well, you made me go real deep on that one. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because there's so many people that aren't, starting or going as hard or continuing because they forget about their why, or don't know what their why is. And the thing that always comes up is like, why are you doing it? And if you have a good enough reason for it, then you typically are going to be the one, more prone to succeeding in it, and sharing in large ways and continuing through the hard times and stuff like that. So if you don't mind me touching, there's a lot of people that are looking to make a living doing this, and you shared about doing Fiverr as an income source that's brought you into a full-time, a representation opportunity for a company, and you're also doing your own things. Do you mind just touching on a little bit of your ecosystem of how you're able to make a living doing what you're doing?
Jeremy, just to be very clear, I am extremely fortunate with the ability to make the living that I make doing what I do. Make no mistake. Going full time is not something, first of all, that I thought would ever be something that I could accomplish. Not in the time period that it was. I thought that I'd be in the casino industry until I retired. I really did.
Hmm.
The thing is, though, is that industry made it very difficult for me to have a family life because there's no such thing as a holiday or a weekend when you're working in the casino. That's when people are there, and that's when you got to be there to work. So to have the opportunity to have Ophir offer me the exclusive agreement that we have, it is totally uncommon. Make no mistake. Okay. What I would say to somebody who wants to go into video or spokesperson work or voiceover work is you got to keep grinding. You really do. Because even though I have what's available to me now, I have more time than most people do to grind into voiceover or to grind into the digital marketing because I don't have to worry about where my next meal is going to come from. So I really can't speak to those people and connect with those people that have a full-time job and are trying to make this thing full-time. So to keep my integrity intact, it's hard for me to speak to that. Now, like I said, I had a side gig and I was making some decent money with the side gig while I was working full-time, but that's what you got to do. Okay. But like I said, don't sacrifice living altogether in order to try to make a living for yourself later on. You have to be content with the path that you're on and with the scenery that's there right now.
Awesome. Yeah,
I
thank
hope
you.
that answered your question because I know I went off.
You did. You
for
did.
tangents.
Yeah, because you did the Fiverr, and that brought you side income, and then that opened an opportunity that evolved into what it is today. And that wouldn't have happened if you didn't do the side hustle on there back when you were working full time.
Right.
And then you never know where things go. We talk a lot about unintended consequences on the show for like ways you didn't expect to impact people. And that's sort of an unintended impact for you for when you're working with the Fiverr gigs to have such a full-time opportunity arise from that.
Yeah. If you'd have told me 4 years ago that I have the influence in the Bitcoin community that I have, the ear and the ability to learn from that community, I would have laughed at you because there's no way that I should have had the steps put in front of me to take 4 years ago that have led me here. So, like I said, I am blessed beyond recognition because I have there's nothing that I did not do enough to get to where I've gotten. I did a lot, but I still sometimes think I didn't do enough to get to where I'm at. And that's a hard thing to say because, then, what happens to what I think is my credibility. But like I said, I keep saying it over and over again. I am extremely fortunate to have the steps put in front of me that God's put in front of me to take so that I can be in the place where I'm at, so that I can have influence, so that I can help the influencers that are watching your channel now and give them some advice specifically about their reputation and their integrity that they need to uphold and protect, because if they want to put themselves out in public, then that's what's going to be attacked first.
Right. All right. Speaking on that, the future, like where are you headed with this? Like, what's, or are you aiming forward, or are you just letting things, sort of play out? Like, what's your, 1 year, 5 year, and 10-year, whatever you have as far as envisioning goes? Like, what's the future look like for you in this whole ecosystem?
I need to recognize I'm not going to be this good looking forever. I'm just not. But all kidding aside, I can't expect, and nobody can expect anything to last forever. And so you have to continue to look for a next opportunity while maintaining the integrity with the people with whom you work. Okay. And so my next step right now is Blue Polo Media, which is the digital marketing and video marketing strategy business that my son and I are getting started. And like I said, because we have the ability to have an income while making that work as well, I want to have more income streams than just the couple 3 that I have. You always have to be looking for more income streams, especially in this economy. The days of, working at a factory for 35 years and having a pension and then just being able to live your days out, those days are over. And anymore, we're beginning to realize as entrepreneurs, especially that are going to be on camera, on podcast, or that are creating content. Well, that wasn't the lifestyle that you wanted anyway. Otherwise, that you wouldn't be doing what you're doing. So make sure that you are cultivating more than one row of crops so that you can actually harvest from one when another may fail, because that's the only way as an entrepreneur and as a business owner that you're going to succeed. So make sure that you've got more rows than just the one to be able to pick from when the fall comes.
Yeah, yeah, great advice. Yeah, it's amazing to see that, to hear your story that you started on Fiverr, you got a gig that led you to getting in front of 23 million, some repeating
Oh,
people, but
that's ridiculous that you
23 million
it's
views.
crazy. It really is.
And then that gives you the credibility. It gives you a great case study for having been a representation of a brand, as well as like you go to a crypto conference and most people are going to know who you are as a result. And
That was weird. That was weird to be famous when you walk into somewhere. You don't know any of these people, except you actually know the names of some of these people and say, "Oh, you're Nate from 99 Bitcoins," and they're just like all over you. I was so dumbstruck by that it was like, oh my goodness, I'm famous, and I've never even prepared for that before. So that was so funky to me. It really was.
yeah, yeah.
Sorry,
I
I
mean,
interrupted you. Forgive me.
no, you're great. I'm sort of excited to see how this all evolves for you because you're in a pretty unique and interesting spot because you have uh, this brand reputation. You have a niche where you're famous in it. You're building a podcast within that niche, so that may take you down paths of getting connected with some of the top tier people in that industry, which can help allow you to climb much quicker than if you didn't have 99 bitcoins
Mhm.
behind you, as well as you have that reputation of being part of a brand from the beginning, building that up to 700,000 YouTube subscribers roughly.
Mhm.
When you're trying to build a business, building brands for other businesses, so it's like I'm excited for seeing how this trajectory continues moving forward, and just congrats on the success, and I'm excited for the future that you bring.
Thank you. I appreciate that. There's one more piece of advice that I would give, especially as a spokesperson or somebody that presents on behalf of a brand that isn't yours. And that is to protect their brand harder than you protect your own, because that's the integrity that's going to keep you getting more clients or keeping the clients and getting exclusive contracts with people. Is that you make sure that you, first of all, know who you're working with, know what their brand is, and know what they're trying to accomplish. Because once you know their mission, and if you're not passionate about it, at least have enough integrity to protect it so that they know that you represent them well, not only on camera, but off camera.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Nate. I was about to ask you for any last words, and we can use that for that. Unless you have any additional last words you'd like to
No,
share.
that was really the last one that really popped into my head that I
Okay.
wanted to make sure that I got out, because that's a really important feature of the relationship and the length of the relationship that I've had with 99 Bitcoins.
Yeah, yeah, that's huge. It's very much connected between you and the brand.
Mhm.
All right, awesome. Well, just want to say thank you so much for coming on here and sharing your journey, sharing your why, sharing your tips and advice, and being so open and authentic and vulnerable through all that. I'm really excited about hearing where you've gotten to as well as the future that is coming. So, just want to thank you for coming on the show and sharing with us today.
Jeremy, it's been my pleasure. I'll be following you along as well, because I know that your podcast, first of all, has been consistent. Congratulations on that. But I look forward to some of the other personalities that you're going to be having on.
Well, thank you. And one question I like to ask before I let you go is because I'm also on my own journey myself. I've had to overcome a lot of personal barriers to be comfortable to be sitting here live streaming, interviewing with you today. And as you share, like I'm learning from you and being reminded from you, such as like when you said you have to bring a lot more energy to talk to a camera. I still feel like I struggle with that, but I guess since I have you, someone who's been experienced with all this, and you've now been on the other side of this interview. Do you have any advice for me that might have come up, just whether it's through how this interview went, or anything you've seen? Just any thoughts that I'd love to hear.
If you want to go ahead and do this on the live stream, I'm more than happy to do it. But if you want to have a conversation afterwards, I'm happy to do that as well.
Yeah, no, I try to be open and vulnerable with it. So I'd love to do it on live stream if you're fine with that.
That's fine. There's one thing that I had to learn very early, and actually, a lot of my Fiverr clients told me about it, and that was to speak more slowly. Because when we're thinking, we're trying to get our thoughts out as quickly as we can because there's another thought coming right behind it. Unfortunately, what that means is that the people that are trying to get the information from you can't absorb it as quickly as you're trying to let it out. And so you're going to need to, especially when you have a point that you want to make, slow your tempo down because they're waiting for what you have to say. Otherwise, they wouldn't be watching your channel. So make sure that you say it in such a fashion that it is understandable, clear, and slow enough for them to absorb.
Awesome. Yeah, great advice. Thank you, Nate. I'll
You bet.
try to slow down.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thanks again, Nate. Thank you all for tuning into another episode of the Why Influence podcast. I hope that you took away some tips today from Nate and learned a lot from his journey, as well as some of the tips that he shared. And just remember that you're not the only person who has to overcome barriers to start or to continue or to go bigger. There's a lot of other people out there, and just make sure that you have a powerful why to help you push through that, and revisit that why from time to time, because that can change. So thanks for tuning in today on the Why Influence podcast, and look forward to seeing you in the next episode.